Good evening, everyone. This is Jane Lambert here from Inspired Chats. Tonight we have Sam Godfrey, our boss,
Hello.
Ryan Smith, and Susan Gardner. Hi, everyone.
How are we?
Howdy.
So this week our topic is self-care. Self-care is a noun, and it is definitively the practice of taking action to preserve or improve your own health. The practice of taking an active role in protecting your own well-being and happiness, in particular, quite apt at the moment during periods of stress. So, Sam, what are you like about taking care of yourself?
What do I lack, or what do I do?
Yes. What do you lack, and what are you good at?
You've put me on the spot now, haven't you?
Yeah.
I'm good at delegating. I know that. Just to give myself a breathing space. My problem is, I think self-care. I take on too much. I don't like to say no. I don't like to feel like I've failed or not achieved what I was going to achieve. And there's probably been times there is times where I should maybe ease off on doing certain things, or pass other responsibilities on. And at times, it can get too much where you feel like your head's literally going to blow. And when that gets to that point, you tend to realise, because home life gets very stressful as well, because you find you're snapping at the wife, you're snapping at the children.
So what do you do to rein yourself back in? Because that's where the self-care comes in.
Zoe shouts at me.
That's the alarm. That's the alarm going off, telling you to shut up. In her head there.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me is being in a routine and trying to be disciplined and sticking to the routine. So, for example, if I don't get up now that we're sort of going back to not normal, but it's slowly going that way. If I'm not up by 5:36 in the morning, then I'm already giving myself a bit of a kicking, because I like to get up about 5:30, 6, train, and then if I feel I train, then my mind's switched on by 8 o'clock and I'm ready to go for the day.
So that's part of your self-care then, is an early rise, and you do your training so that you are starting the day right. I'm ready.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
And I know when I haven't done it, because the rest of the day I'm chasing my tail, my head's a bit mumble jumble.
Do you do a lot of your thinking while you're doing your training? Is that part of your...
Yeah. When I'm out running, I'm constantly thinking about projects I've got going off and things like that. I find where all of a sudden I've done half a mile because my cling clicks in, and I'm like, where's that half mile gone? Because I've just been running things in my head.
Yeah, brilliant. Ryan, what's self-care? What are you lacking, and what do you do?
So for me, my biggest bugbear, and it's one thing that puts me in a bad mood, is my hair. I cannot stand hair growing over my ears. I can't stand, when I come back from France, I mean, I was even to the point where I was out in France, I was paying €25 for a haircut, because every 2 weeks, because it needed to be done. And if I didn't get it done, I get frustrated. I get in a mood, and so some people it's quite trivial, but for me, it puts me in a better place. If I've had a bad week or two, having my hair cut makes me want to have a shave. Having that shave makes me a bit more ready to go. But if I let my hair grow, I'll let this grow. And I don't grow a lot. It takes me about 6 weeks to sort of grow anything. 35 and still going through puberty. But getting, it's like having that haircut just makes me feel proud, feel smart, and it gets me ready. And it's like Sam says as well, being prepared for stuff. If you've got to be somewhere, or I've been awful the last 2 weeks on this, but having that plan, write it. If you've got an idea in your head, write it down. I mean, it's like they say, a plan without an idea without a plan is just a dream, sort of thing. So you have that plan down, written down, that idea becomes a reality. So if it is a case of you struggling to get out of bed, write it down. Right, this is my target for tomorrow. Write it down, and because you've written it down, you've got it then, and you've got to do it, sort of thing. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, they have the saying, don't they? If you're failing to prepare, is preparing to fail.
Preparing to fail, yeah. Another one I know is from the army days. Can't mean won't means jail. So you've got to do it, otherwise you're going to end up in the glass house, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's like I say, for me, having that haircut makes me feel smart, proud, and it makes me want to take my day that bit further. If I want to do something, write it down. Gives you that, it gives you that push to go forwards.
I'm with you. I understand. So you know how I feel then. I haven't had my hair cut since the 31st of January. That's supposed to be over my ears too.
See, I even went to the point, I got my wife to buy some dog clippers because we couldn't get any clippers anywhere. I got to buy some dog clippers off eBay, sort of thing. Took a couple of weeks to get here. So this and my dog over here had a butcher in one night. So I had it done first, then the dog did, and a couple of weeks later we both had another one. So on a haircut. And for me, this is long at the moment. This is long.
It's just touching your ears, yeah.
Yeah, it's long. So that's it.
Susan, what do you think you lack in self-care, and what are you good at?
Well, this is my favourite topic, actually, Jane. It's the one that for a long time I bang on about the importance of self-care, and the reason for that is because it's at the heart of our health and wellness. Our well-being is a reflection of our self-care, and there were many years where I pushed myself beyond what I ought to have been doing. So self-care was very much woo-woo. It was on the back burner. It wasn't something that I honoured in myself at all. Was very good at telling other people what to do, but not doing it for myself, until I hit the proverbial brick wall, which was really as a result of not taking self-care measures and burning the candle at both ends, So the last 20 years in particular have been very focused on supporting myself, doing things, as Ryan's saying, with a routine, with a schedule in place, which it gives me that flexibility, but it means that I have that focus when I'm waking up in the morning, having gone to bed the night before midnight, so go to bed on the same day that you get up is always a good idea. And then waking up now, I do a little meditation. So I'm setting the scene in my mind as to the type of day that I want to, how I want it to be, rather than getting caught up into worries about how things might be, which are out of my control. And that was the old me. But the new me, which is very much where my message is centered in the work that I do on health and well-being, is that we can take control and empower ourselves for better things, for nicer things, when we look after ourselves first, because nobody else can do it for us. We have to take responsibility and be accountable for maybe the actions that we don't do when we ought to be doing. So it's not just about brushing your teeth with the right toothpaste or eating the right things. It goes more into doing these things regularly, but also the extra things, like because I'm an energy worker as well, I I very much, which is where the therapeutic tapping comes in, that you see me doing in the sessions, and what that does is it enhances our energy, literally. And there's a whole science around that, which you can go into, and if it's of interest to you. So it's not woo-woo, everything is energy. So there's more to us than just our physical selves, and that's what I'm getting at. So it's a holistic approach to what makes my life happy. Yeah.
I mean, on the tail end from that, I mean, I'm obviously similar field, but coming from more the physical, the physical, the muscle side of things, and it's about the maintenance side of things, and something that I try and push to all my clients that I've got is you've got when you've got a car and you're driving and you don't put the fuel in it, you're driving the car, you don't sort the tire out, you don't go and get it serviced. It's the same as your body. If you don't look after your body, you don't come and see somebody like me, somebody like yourselves. You don't have that service. You don't put the right fuel into it. Your body's just going to fall in on itself, and it's not going to work. Another thing that Susan's just said, it's about the sleep as well. I mean, one of the biggest bugbears for me, and I'm guilty of it myself, is coming to 11, 12 o'clock at night and having that phone in bed and playing on the phone, scrolling through it, because you've got that big bright light in your face. Your body can't switch off. So something that I've started to do is either putting my phone in my top drawer so I can't see it, or even better, just leave it outside the room, and then get yourselves an alarm clock. Set the alarm clock, put that at the other end of the room, so you've got no choice but to go out and get it. Put an alarm on your phone outside the room. You've got no choice but to go and turn it off. You're out of bed. It's and setting yourself. I have a thing now where come 12 o'clock, that's it. TV's off. I'm going to bed. I go upstairs, and sometimes my wife's been in bed for like 3-4 hours, and she's there on her phone, and I'm like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, it's just like, I'm tired, it helps me sleep. Well, obviously not, and for me, that's probably the biggest one that now, when I go to bed, I 2 seconds, set an alarm, and it normally goes in my top drawer, face down, so I can't see it.
Well done.
And that's, for me, has certainly helped me out, especially with my sleeping pattern.
Yeah, it's massive. It really massively interferes with the brain waves. So, if nothing else, to get the point across tonight, that is such a big thing, because so many people sleep with their smartphones and don't realize just how it's, the negative impact it's having on their bodies.
We're a world that's plugged in, and unfortunately, sometimes you've got to unplug it. And that 8 hours there that your body needs should be that time. You unplug from the world, and you just say, do you know what? It's not my problem now. I'll see you at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. And when you say 8 hours, that's one of the reasons why I tell my counselling clients, at 11 o'clock at night, I am no longer available to you until 7 o'clock, unless it's an emergency. That means there's a threat of death or injury. Any other reason will wait till a minute past 7 in the morning.
It ain't gonna, if your problem's here today, it ain't gonna go away by 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. All it does is intensify, because if you're awake and thinking about it, have a notebook at the side of the bed, write down what it is, and it takes it out your head. You can forget about it then till tomorrow morning. For myself, one of the big things that I do, you'll notice every single time I'm on, I will have makeup on. I never not put makeup on. I don't mean I've got masses of foundation. I wear foundation when I go out, but that's my thing. First thing in the morning, I get up, I have a shower, I wash my hair. When it's not like this, it's spiked up, and the makeup goes on, and I wear my best perfume every day. And I will wear every colour under the sun, because I love colour. And nobody makes me feel miserable. I will wear the brightest colours on this earth and flounce my stuff. I don't care. Yes, I'm a big woman, and that doesn't bother me anymore either. I put up with enough abuse over the years that made me feel like I shouldn't, and nobody can tell me that I shouldn't. So when I can, I have my nails done, and I have my hair done, and I have my toes done. Even during the winter, I will still have gel on my toes. And I don't do it for anybody but for me, because it makes me feel better. A lot of my clients who are quite kinesthetic like a bath. I hate the bath, but I love this sea. So whenever we go away, I don't care where it is, I will go in the ocean and I will swim. That's self-care for me. When I'm stuck in this country, and that's the only time you'll ever hear me say it, I go up to the lakes. And I try and go now every year. And I will have 3 or 4 days away on my own. Airbnb is brilliant for that. I'll get myself a little flat. And I'll tell Mick and the kids as I'm driving up, that's the last time they talk to me until I'm driving back. Like I say to my clients, unless there's death or a threat of injury, you don't contact me. I don't want to know. And that is my time. And I will just walk and go to bed early and get up late. And I'll live on fish because I love it. And Mick moans about the smell. That's my self-care.
I mean, for
Jane.
what you've just said there is right, Jane. And the one that I took something out of that is time. Time for yourself. Time just to step back out of the world, even if it's only for 15, 20 minutes a day. Take a step back and just think, I'm me. You know,
this is my time.
This is me. And forget about everything else. You know, and if you've got a cat, it's impossible to go to the toilet without the cat. But you know, but that's.
Well, I registered earlier this year. In January, I clicked that. Last year, including my dad, I dealt with 17 deaths between January and the end of November. And I kept thinking to myself, oh, I should be able to cope with this. You're a counsellor. You deal with grief. Yeah, I do. But it was my counsellor who said to me, even you've got a limit, and 17 is a ridiculous number to be dealing with. And that was why in January, I booked myself 3 days away, and I had 3 days up in Cumbria and took my time out again. A few walks around Derwent Water, and I'm in a good place. Hello, sweetheart. But it's just what I needed, and I don't feel guilty about that. I don't feel guilty about clearing off and having some time for myself.
I agree with you. I mean, that's what me and Zoe in that, because obviously when we're working, it is for me, and Zoe's not, well, she's the same because she has the kids in the house where I'm up. It's 7 days a week.
Yeah.
It's like I said, I'm up from 6 in the morning. I don't switch off till, well, like you said, Ryan, during lockdown now, I'm starting to make a point, like about 8, 8:30, I'll occasionally look at my phone, but unless it's like you say, it looks like, oh, that's an emergency, I'll answer it. But otherwise, I'll just like, oh, I'll deal with that tomorrow. Where actually, before lockdown, Jesus Christ, I was.
You were still on at 11 and 12 at night, but you were still getting up at 5:30.
Exactly.
Just how much energy do you think you've got, Sam? It's not about age. You can be in your 20s, and that is still not enough. Our bodies need to recover.
So I've got to the point now where, as of last week, I went back on a diet, which Zoe's monitoring for me, which I feel so much better than back on a proper diet, because all my life I've been on diets, and then I've come off it for last year when I slowed my boxing and stuff down, and I just felt I put all the weight on. This is like the heaviest I've ever been, and I just felt bad. So I've got my fitness up over lockdown, back on a diet last week, lost 3 kilos this week, so I feel good. I'm drinking more water. I'm brilliant. But the one thing, like going back to breaks, me and Zoe will always do is every probably 8 weeks, we'll make sure we've got somewhere that we're going to, whether it's, I don't know, a local place for a night, or we go to a town break for a weekend. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have to. And people say to me, oh, you're always going away. And I'll be like, well, a couple of things. A, I work every day of the week. B, I don't spend my money on going out, drinking, things like that. So I have that break. That break is our break, and it breaks things up for a day or two, and come back and then try and be refreshed, if that's the word, and start again. Do you know what I mean?
But you reconnect during that time as well, because otherwise we forget why we chose our partner. Why are we together? And actually that reconnection of just 48 hours with everybody else out the picture is really refreshing.
Yeah.
I mean, when I go on holiday and wife goes on holiday, two things that we don't do. One is definitely Facebook, and two is phone calls. I'll drop my mum a text message, she'll drop her mum a text message, and that's it then. Might take my phone out for photos, but while I'm away, I don't have anything to do with the world. Why does Bob and Sarah down the road need to know what's going on in my holiday?
They don't. You can tell them when you get back.
Exactly. and I mean, another one for me, and some people have called me selfish for it, but do you know what? I'll do it again. I went out to France last November, December, shut my business down, left my wife at home. Wife looked after the cat, dog, and everything else, and I went to France for a couple of months, just for me. And it's not selfish. It's self-care.
Self-care. You're exactly right. Exactly right. We need to look after ourselves first. We need to be our number one priority. Your partner, your children, your pets, the rest of your family, your friends can all come further down the list, because if you start and put everybody else in front of you, that's when your body is going to break down and tell you so. For me, I've had shingles twice in the past 6 years. And that's when I've done too many hours. Seen too many clients. I've done too many sessions, and it just gets to me. So I don't let it happen anymore.
Well done. And on that, Jane, it's the common analogy that a lot of people will refer to is when you're on a plane, what do they say? What's in the guidance at the beginning? If the oxygen mask drop down, you place it on yourself first, and then you deal with the other people in your party. And that's what self-care is about, because if we're not looking after ourselves, we get to a point where how can we look after our dependents? How can we look after other people if we're not doing it for ourselves? So we just run out of energy, and undoubtedly the body starts communicating that there's issues, you're out of balance, life is out of balance, and symptoms do reflect that. And if we continue to ignore it, then sure enough, some sort of dis-ease occurs. And it's very simple, really. It's very simple. So, this is a massive topic, and I'm so glad that we're discussing it here. It's really interesting, to hear how you're all dealing with this in your own unique ways, and it's really inspiring.
So what do you think you're going to take on board this coming week, Sam? What are you going to do differently?
What am I going to do differently? I'm just trying the routine now. So one is eating healthy, so I feel better. Two is ideally in bed by about 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because like I've had it where 12, 1, 2 o'clock, you're sort of watching a box thing or something. Or I mean, Zoe will say, sometimes she'll say, "Are we even married?" Because I fall asleep on the sofa. Do you know what I mean? And it's having that discipline to go up to bed. Bed by 10 o'clock. Like I say, up fresh for 6. Get my morning session in, and then hit the day. But hit the day where you know what's going on already. You've planned it. You've got your routine. You know what's happening. Do you know what I mean? That's
your week.
That's my week. That's how I'm going to go. Yeah, that's how I'm going to hit it.
What are you going to do, Rai?
Just keep doing what I do. Put myself first. It's the most important person in the world. Without me, my world wouldn't go round.
Exactly right.
So put myself first. Make a note when I need to make a note, and keep not playing on my phone when I go to bed.
Yeah. Susan?
I want to do a little more exercise. I walk the dog a lot anyway, but I want to do some more yoga practice for myself. And I've just got to stick with my schedule because it's in there.
Well, I commit to doing 4 sessions of Reiki on myself this coming week because I know that I need it. That's the one thing that I do let slip. I know it's ideal to do first thing in the morning, but it's not always easy. So I do mine last thing at night, and I find that that really relaxes me ready for sleep. So I hope that everybody has took something on board from what we've discussed this week. Thanks very much for taking part, everybody. And we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.